irresistible force.
The following contest is a submission match. Making her way to the ring from San Diego, California, Nia Jax.
Hey, whenever Nia Jax enters an arena, whenever Nia Jax enters a match, everyone takes notice of the dominance that this woman is capable of.
She's beautiful, she's powerful, she's dangerous. It's like $1 million smile on a wrecking ball. Nia Jax is the irresistible force to be reckoned with. Oh my God.
Calm down.
And her opponent, from Yorktown Heights, New York, Mandy Rose.
A superstar that wouldn't look out of place on the roof of the Sistine Chapel. A real work of art, God's greatest creation.
I wouldn't be able to tell. My monitor's all blurry. Can we get tech support out here or something?
As Corey calls her the... Now look at this. Come on, we need to get over here.
Now hold on, Cole. Let's just see where this goes.
Unique environment here as we kick off this submission match.
The thing about this match is I can't envision these competitors ever giving... No, it's just not in their DNA.
Drop.
Things starting to go the other way for her. She's going to need to find a way to mount an offense here. Her opponent clearly wants to prove a point tonight. And you know what? I think it's working.
Man, really working over the body.
Vicious strike. When we talk about submission matches, we have to speak about one that, in many people's eyes, set the standard. It was WrestleMania 13. Bret the Hitman Hart was in a heated rivalry with a brash star on the rise named Stone Cold Steve Austin. This match started like no other submission match, with the two superstars battling in the crowd and attempting to use ring steps as a weapon.
Oh, this is not good at all. Oh man, backbreaker. Byron, you mentioned the submission match between Bret Hart and Steve Austin at WrestleMania 13. The rivalry between the Hitman and Stone Cold was so intense that WWE had no choice but to appoint mixed martial arts champion Ken Shamrock as the special guest referee. The Hitman didn't waste any time focusing his assault on Austin's injured knee.
Steve Austin was busted open, and in the ringside area, it looked like a tornado went through. Once locked in the sharpshooter, Austin refused to give up. Stone Cold passed out due to the excruciating pain, which was considered a submission, giving the Hitman the victory. If it's not the greatest match of all time, it's certainly in the discussion.
One of the things a superstar who's competing in a submission match has to be careful of is if they have an injury or have been injured in the past and people know about it. You can bet in a submission match that your opponent is going to target that body part immediately. It's like having a giant bullseye on an arm, leg, ankle, or shoulder.
Brought in the hard way.
Byron, you brought up that a submission match can be especially dangerous for a competitor who's injured or had a known injury. I think that's why it's just as important in a submission match to be able to reverse the submission move from an opponent as it is to apply a submission maneuver to an opponent. If a superstar can't reverse an opponent's submission, then they're certainly going to be in trouble.
Some superstars have more than one submission at their disposal, and it becomes a pick your poison scenario for their opponent. It also depends on the match. Some submission matches are based on winning via a submission move, and others involve a competitor having to use the specific submission they've chosen.
Mandy Rose has been called by Corey God's greatest creation. You're the only one, Corey, who calls.
Here we go with Nia Jax. Pile driver. That should do it.
Oh, nasty impact.
Looking to lock it in here.
The two of you were discussing why Mandy Rose is quote-unquote God's greatest creation. And I have to say, she is pretty and a great performer. But is it possible, I don't know, you're exaggerating, Corey?
I am not exaggerating in the slightest, Saxton. Mandy Rose is the most talented and beautiful performer I have ever seen. As a matter of fact, the two of you aren't even worthy of viewing her majesty. It'd be like staring...
Uh-oh.
Dragon. Oh, this one is over.
The first ever Women's Royal Rumble match was full of amazing moments, but Nia Jax may have had the best performance of the 29 women who didn't win that match.
I agree, Michael. While Asuka was obviously the true winner of the match, Nia Jax had plenty to be proud of, lasting 18 minutes and single-handedly eliminating 4 competitors.
Fellas, let's go back to Nia Jax's Royal Rumble performance. When it comes to unassisted eliminations, she had the most in the Royal Rumble, tied with Michelle McCool. But here's the thing. McCool was a surprise entrant. 4 women knew to prepare for Nia and still fell to the irresistible force.
Nia Jax set another record that night as 6 women needed to team together to eliminate the irresistible force. And it was 6 of the all-time greats. Asuka, Bayley, Natalya, Trish Stratus, and the Bella Twins.
The WWE Universe witnessed a classic submission match at 2016's Extreme Rules event. The Queen, Charlotte Flair, defended her women's championship against Natalya. The one thing I thought was unfair about the match is that there was a ban against the Nature Boy Ric Flair being at ringside. If Flair appeared, Charlotte would lose the match and her women's crown.
Corey, you spoke of the submission match between Charlotte Flair and Natalya, and I need to point out that this match was not Flair's figure 8 versus Natalya's sharpshooter. Victory could be achieved by making your opponent tap out to any submission maneuver. I think we all know why the Nature Boy was banned from ringside.
When Natalya had Charlotte locked in the sharpshooter, it seemed that the Queen of Hearts was going to be crowned the new champion. Of course, that was until Dana Brooke distracted Natty, giving Charlotte the opening to lock on the figure 8 and force Natalya to submit. It wouldn't be a Flair match without a little bit of controversy.
Uh-oh, here we go, Byron, he's got the sleeper locked in, the sleeper hold is locked in.
This could be it. That has got to be it. Oh no, I don't like Mandy Rose's chances in this one.
Mandy Rose has had a meteoric rise in WWE. In 2015, she was one of many hopefuls aiming for a contract in Tough Enough. In 2016, she appeared on NXT. In 2017, she made her main roster debut on Raw. A year later, she jumped to SmackDown.
Michael, you mentioned the rise of Mandy Rose. Yes, she quickly ascended, going for it.
Nailed it.
Man, she knows how to make a comeback.
Now, can Nia Jax make the most of this?
In a submission match, the name of the game is to make...
Oh, what a slam that hurt!
That's it. That's what she needed.
She's got her in her sights.
She's tough, but nobody's that tough.
Corey, earlier you spoke about a submission match, and one thing I'd like to point out is that a submission match is not necessarily the same as an I Quit match. The key difference is that a submission match requires the use of a submission maneuver. In an I Quit match, victory can be achieved by bringing your opponent to the point where they quit as a result of the overall punishment they've received in the match.
That's an important distinction, Michael, especially since a superstar can win an I Quit match by using a submission maneuver. The superstar...
We're going to lock it in here.
She better do something fast.
The WWE Universe witnessed a classic submission match at 2016's Extreme Rules event. The Queen, Charlotte Flair, defended her Women's Championship against Natalya. The one thing I thought was unfair about the match...
She's looking at it.
Just wearing down the opponent. That's how you put an exclamation point on the end of a match, guys.
Byron, help me make sense of this decision.
I'm not sure I can, Michael. She seemed to have it locked in pretty good.
Corey, you spoke of the submission match between Charlotte Flair and Natalya, and I need to point out that this match was not Flair's figure eight versus Natalya's sharpshooter. Victory could be achieved by making your opponent tap out to any submission maneuver. I think we all know why the Nature Boy was banned from ringside.
When Natalya had Charlotte locked in the sharpshooter, it seemed that the Queen of Hearts was going to be crowned the new champion. Of course, that was until Dana Brooke distracted Natty, giving Charlotte the opening to lock on the figure eight and force Natalya to submit. It wouldn't be a Flair match without a little bit of controversy, would it? One of the things a superstar who's competing in a submission match has to be careful of is if they have an injury or have been injured in the past and people know about it. You can bet in a submission match that your opponent is going to target that body part immediately. It's like having a giant bullseye on an arm, leg, ankle, or shoulder.
Byron, you brought up that a submission match can be especially dangerous for a competitor who's injured.
Incredible striking combination.
You gotta believe this one's over. This one is over.
Now can Nia Jax make the most of this?
She's got her. Oh, a shin breaker.
Try walking after that one.
Nia Jax sees an opening. Well, I don't know if Nia Jax knows where she is right now.
Mandy Rose has been successful in WWE, but she also has the less than honorable distinction of being the first person eliminated in both the inaugural Women's Royal Rumble and Women's Elimination Chamber.
I think she's trying to prove a point here.
Nia Jax, big move coming. Byron's got the sleeper locked in. The sleeper hold is locked in.
This could be it. I bet you feel foolish writing her off now. Michael brought up Mandy Rose's lack of success in the Royal Rumble and the Elimination Chamber. But I have to say she didn't have the luck of the draw in either case. Drawing spot number 4 in the Rumble and being the first person out of a pod in the Elimination Chamber.
Saxton, quit judging Mandy Rose. Only God can judge Mandy Rose, and she's been deemed God's greatest creation. Mandy Rose was the victim of a conspiracy at the Royal Rumble and Elimination Chamber when she got those bad entrance numbers.
In a submission match, the name of the game is to make your opponent tap out from a submission move. There have been so many submission specialists throughout the history of this great business. Bret Hitman Hart, Kurt Angle, Brock Lesnar, William Regal, and Daniel Bryan are a few who come to mind. And on the women's side, I think about Alundra Blaze, Natalya, Becky Lynch, Charlotte Flair, and the boss, Sasha Banks.
What a stomp. Good grief. Corey, earlier you spoke about a submission match, and one thing I'd like to point out is that a submission match is not necessarily the same as an I Quit match. The key difference is that a submission match requires the use of a submission maneuver. In an I Quit match, victory can be achieved by bringing your opponent to the point where they quit as a result of the overall punishment they've received in the match.
That's an important distinction, Michael, especially since a superstar can win an I Quit match by using the submission maneuver. For superstars who aren't proficient in submission moves, they enter this type of match at a disadvantage. It doesn't mean they can't win, but they need to perfect applying the submission move quickly. Come on, Corey, try and keep up.
Mandy Rose has been called, by Corey, God's greatest creation. You're the only one, Corey, who calls her that. Why does she have that nickname?
Let me think, Michael Cole. Probably because I have functioning eyeballs. Take a look at Mandy Rose. The creator of the universe spared no expense when crafting the masterpiece known as Mandy Rose.
The two of you were discussing why Mandy Rose is, quote-unquote,
She might have it. Byron's got the sleeper locked in. The sleeper hold is locked in.
this could be it. Wow, she's fought her way all the way back here.
That's one of the more impressive submissions in today's sports entertainment.
Oh, look at this, locked in. Submission move here.
This one's over, guys.
Mandy Rose has had a meteoric rise in WWE. In 2015, she was one of many hopefuls aiming for a contract in Tough Enough. In 2016, she appeared on NXT. In 2017, she made her main roster debut on Raw. A year later, she jumped to SmackDown.
Michael, you mentioned the rise of Mandy Rose. Yes, she quickly ascended from a WWE hopeful to NXT and then to both brands on the main roster. But she didn't come out of nowhere. She was an award-winning bodybuilder before even joining WWE.
Stop talking, guys. You are both doing a terrible job conveying the majesty of God's greatest creation, Mandy Rose. Nobody's had a rise like Mandy because there is no competitor on her level.
When we talk about submission matches, we have to speak about one that, in many people's eyes, set the standard. It was WrestleMania 13. Bret the Hitman Hart was in a heated rivalry with a brash star on the rise named Stone Cold Steve Austin. This match started like no other submission match, with the two superstars battling in the crowd and attempting to use ring steps as a weapon.
Byron, you mentioned the submission match between Bret Hart and Steve Austin at WrestleMania 13. The rivalry between the Hitman and Stone Cold was so intense that WWE had no choice but to appoint mixed martial arts champion Ken Shamrock as the special guest referee. The Hitman didn't waste any time focusing his assault on Austin's injured knee.
Steve Austin was busted open, and in the ringside area, it looked like a tornado went through. Once locked in the sharpshooter, Austin refused to give up. Stone Cold passed out due to the excruciating pain, which was considered a submission, giving the Hitman...
Nia Jax is measuring.
Harsh impact. He's back in full control now.
Nia Jax, the irresistible force, and she's proven that moniker true as she's overpowered the competition in NXT and WWE.
You ain't kidding, Cole. In both NXT and WWE, she'd tear through up-and-coming competitors in just a minute or two. She also turned in some dominating performances against the likes of Bayley, Sasha Banks, Alicia Fox, and Mickie James.
The two of you were discussing Nia Jax being irresistible, and I have to agree. You know, I recently invited Nia to my mother's house and offered to make her some apple pie. And technically, she didn't say no.
That's not what they mean by...
Nia Jax, big move coming. Impactful slam.
Game, set, match. This one.
She's looking at it. Nope, she releases it.
Well, that decision may very well come back to haunt her, Cole.
Irish whip. Boom.
Nia Jax did not waste any time in becoming a dominant force in NXT. After cryptic vignettes declared that Nia wasn't like most girls, she proved it by laying waste to NXT's best en route to Women's Championship contendership.
Oh, man.
Going back to Nia Jax NXT days, she really displayed her dominance on her rise to the top, dispatching performers like Liv Morgan and Carmella. She looks for it once again.
Boom, nasty impact.
That should do it.
Now... And Nia Jax make the most of this.
Toss to the outside. striking blow. Putting it all on the line. Look out! We have Mandy Rose.
Here we go.
Beautiful technique.
It's accolade, the accolade. It's over. That's it. That's what she needed.
Now, can Nia Jax make the most of this?
Well, we had Corey giving his unbiased strategy discussion concerning Mandy Rose before. Byron, do you have an answer now?
Thank you, Michael. Yeah, Mandy can be defeated, and you need to neutralize her Absolution ally, Sonya Deville. Together, they can be tough to beat, but if you work on them one at a time, it's possible to earn a win.
Down she goes.
And she might just stay down there this time.
She might have it. Look at this. She lets her out.
She better have a good reason for this, Cole, because she just had her seconds away from tapping, I think.
She wants to finish this. Uh-oh.
Dragon.
It's in, it's in.
Night, night.
That's how you put an exclamation point on the end of a match, guys.
The WWE Universe witnessed a classic submission.
The pressure's on. She's going to make her tap.
How about another look at some of the highlights?
Man, oh man, look at that. Look at her go. Check this out. She proves she has what it takes to be one of the best in the business.
Here is your winner.
Look at the look in her eyes. She's in the zone now. Looks like she wants to beat her inside the ring.
Ooh, what impact.
Nia Jax is measuring her.
Pile driver.
That has got to be it. Your whole body hurts after a move like that.
Uh-oh.
Dragons.
It's in, it's in.
Night, night.
That should do it.
By now, you'd think that would have been better scouted.
Look at this. Nia Jax is letting everyone know exactly how she feels.